Hello everyone, this is Vikino. Today we are going to talk about the third and fourth episode of the criminal miniseries of 2022, The Week in the Hero. Gilsu, a cool gangster and the leader of a gang, which includes Sogdae, is very dissatisfied with the fact that his subordinate, instead of doing what he was ordered to do, decided to help his cousin. Gilsu severely punishes Sogdae in the name of the others and breaks his arm, hitting her with a heavy object several times. After that, Sogdae comes to Yeonbin and orders to bring Shiin to him. In the store, Shiin sees that Yeonbin, who is also in Gilsu's gang, is stealing something from the shelf, but pretends not to notice anything. A grateful girl on the street climbs under the umbrella to the guy and calls him to a cafe. Yeonbin turns out to be very talkative, and despite the grumpiness of the interlocutor, she tells him about her life and exchanges phones with him. Gilsu collects debts from high school students. One poor guy even drives his parents' car as a hostage. Nevertheless, the bandit threatens to kill the boy's parents if he does not return all the debt in 3 days. At school, Yeonbin comes up to Shiin and calls the schoolboy for a conversation. Yeonbin begs the boy to tell the police that the fentanyl was not his, otherwise he will face a colony for minors and a disgrace for his parents. Kind-hearted Shiin agrees to help and, together with his friends, follows Yeonbin to the courthouse. However, the hooligan deceives the classmates and brings the guys to the underground parking lot where Gilsu is already waiting for them with his henchmen. The gangster shows Sogdae his broken arm and demands compensation for it in the amount of 15 million won. Suko knows for sure that he did not break the hooligan's arm, but Gilsu does not care. He gives the guys only 3 days to bring the money, threatening to kill them otherwise. Gilsu's henchmen watch the 3 high school students every day so that they understand the seriousness of the situation. Shiin calls Yeonni and asks to meet him. The girl agrees and tells the guy that Gilsu is a real hooligan, the actions of which are covered by a very dangerous gang. Gilsu is very cruel to his own and to others. He will go to murder without hesitation. Yeonni advises Shiin to find the money and give the debt to the gangster. Bumsok steals his father's expensive watch to sell them and pay off the hooligans. After 3 days, the high school students meet to discuss the plan of further actions. Bumsok gets the right amount of money, but he lies that his father gave it to him. The comrades do not really believe the guy, and in general, they are not eager to give the money to the bandits. Instead, Shiin offers to poison the police on them and tells what he learned from Yeonni about the gangster. It turns out that the Gilsu's henchmen have an online casino, which he is trying to lure, first of all, high school students. The underdogs are given a decent starting deposit and are allowed to win in several games, so that they feel the taste of big money. However, then, of course, they start to lose. Wanting to play off, they take money from Gilsu, thereby driving themselves deeper and deeper into debt. In the end, the poor guys are forced to sell expensive things to their parents. And Gilsu, in addition, uses his debts, forcing them to fulfill his dirty mission. The gangster keeps a book with transactions, money and drugs, and a safe in his shelter, to which Shiin offers to poison the cops. After the lesson, the Gilsu is already waiting for the guys behind the gates of the school. Suko says that he will deal with the scoundrel himself and boldly steps towards them. The fighter is going to take a ride with the gangster to their shelter so that his friends can track his location on the phone and call the police. Suko tells Gilsu that he knows about his online casino and he has great ideas that will help bring the gangster much more money. Of course, the bandit does not believe the guy, but orders him to get in the car to discuss everything in his office. Sogdae and Yeonni stay near the school to wait for Shiin and Bumsok. Soon, Shiin calls Yeonni and asks for help, and the girl gives him the address of Gilsu's shelter without hesitation. Bumsok immediately jumps into a taxi and heads to the bandit's lair without consulting his comrade. Yeonni tells Sogdae that she gave Shiin the gangster's shelter because he is tired of the mess he is making. Sogdae silently agrees with the girl because the gangster, having broken his arm, has crossed all the borders. Having reached the place, Suko secretly gives Shiin the location of the bandit's shelter, and the senior sees that this is the same address that Yeonni gave him. Suko refuses to give his phone to the bandits. Then one of the thugs beats him hard on the head, and the leader, having read the message in the guy's mobile phone, understands that the school children are going to poison the cops on them. The bandits decide to leave and wait in a secluded place, taking Suko with them. At the exit, they meet Bumsok, who gives the villains money and offers to solve everything peacefully. However, the thugs do not listen to the schoolboy, push him and Suko into the car, and break off. Shiin brings the cops to the bandit shelter, but the gates turn out to be closed, and no one responds from the inside. The police leave, as they have no search warrant. Shiin climbs over the fence and penetrates the house. Seeing bloodstains on the floor, the schoolboy immediately understands that Suko was beaten here. The guy, of course, cannot reach his friends. And in the house, he finds only an empty safe, so he has no evidence against the bandits. Gilsu understands that Sogdae and Yeonni betrayed him, The gangster calls Soktae and threatens to kill their comrade Sonchon if the traitor does not appear in the old attraction park Mangodon. Soktae goes to save his comrade, asking Yoni to wait for him at the hotel. However, the girl secretly follows him. Yoni asks Xian to install an application on his phone so that he can track her location. Gilsoo comes to the old park with his thugs, taking with him Suko and Bomsa. Soon Soktae appears, who offers the leader a one-on-one fight. The gangster immediately agrees because the guy has a broken arm, and this gives the thug a significant advantage. The two enter the fight, and Soktae, despite the serious injury, inflicts several serious blows to his boss. Gilsoo becomes furious, grabs a knife and wounds the guy in the leg. Yoni comes to help her comrade and beats the gangster with a heavy object on his head. But, of course, the weak girl has no chance against the thug. Hearing the howl of police sirens, the bandits are going to run, and the armored Xian has time to untie his friends. Gilsoo quickly realizes that something is wrong and finds the phone of Xian, with which he imitated the howl of police sirens. A mass fight begins, and at this moment, a shot is fired. This is the patrolman who came to the noise and made a warning shot in the air. The vile Gilsoo pushes the police officer of one of his subordinates and tries to escape, and Xian chases him. The high school student catches up with the gangster and bravely rushes at him, but the boy has no chance against an adult man. Suho comes to help his comrade. The schoolboy, together with great difficulty, manages to overpower the mature gangster and hand him over to the cops. Sokta, the son of his own freedom, helps Yoni and Sonchon escape. In the police station, Xian and Bumsok are taken to a separate room where their lawyer Bum, Sok's father, is waiting for them, who works as a deputy and has a great influence. The lawyer has no questions for Xian, but he promises to tell about what happened to the influential father, Bumsok. Subsequently, the lawyer brings Bumsok to Gil-soo's office and beats him several times, after which he offers Bumsok to beat the gangster to take revenge for his humiliation. However, the high school student does not want to do this and just goes out the door. At the exit from the police station, Xian meets Yoni, who asks the boy for forgiveness for what happened. Xian and Yoni go to the hospital where Suho lies. Xian tells his comrade that the influential father, Bumsok, does not want to betray the case of the gang of Gilsoo because his son's name is engraved in it. In addition, the deputy agreed to pay the hospital bills to Suho. Yoni is going to stay in the hospital to make a company for the injured Suho. Xian leaves, but soon returns with full bags of food, surprising these comrades, who are already used to his not very friendly character. When Bumsok returns home, the enraged father shouts that he should not have adopted such an idiot. The deputy grabs a golf club and beats the guy hard for stealing his expensive watch and almost soaked his impeccable reputation. You can find a link to the analysis of the first 2 episodes of the series in the description of this video.